And good morning, guys. So today, we are continuing with what I started about a month ago. We're going to continue following our boxes. So what this is actually turning into is me kind of trying to anticipate the questions that your kids would ask me in class and try to, be a little bit funny about it because they're not going to ask me the questions, usually. So the first question that I would anticipate about our West African country of Tanzania is, how big is it? And, I can tell you this. Tanzania is about 365,756 square miles. That includes all of the lakes. And since I already know that the next question would be, okay, but how big is that many miles? We have the U.S. for scale. And you can fit about 10 Tanzanias in the U.S. Or, if you just double the size of California, it's about the same amount of space. So the country was founded in 1963 after two countries merged to form one. Now the island of Zanzibar, I'm pretty sure I'm saying correctly, but Danny put up that lovely gigantic word for me. If anyone could tell me how to pronounce that, I would be very thankful.
Tanganyika.
Okay, there we go, Tanganyika. Those two countries merged and became Tanzania, which they took the tan from the original, the Zan from Zanzibar, and that's where they got the name. Tanganyika was previously part of the British Commonwealth and gained their independence at about the same time that Zanzibar was going through a revolution. Because they had similar political views, the two countries decided to merge, and in 1964, in October, they officially changed the name to Tanzania. Now, I'm not going to name a bunch of different cities because you can ask the kids, you can ask the teenagers, and you can ask the young adults. I can barely read in English. I am not going to attempt to pronounce all of these names in Swahili and absolutely murder them. So I'm just going to leave that alone. But Swahili and English are the two recognized languages in Tanzania. And their capital is the city of Dodoma, and that is the home of Mount Kilimanjaro. Go ahead, Danny. Mount Kilimanjaro is going to be the mountain that is up in the corner here. Oh, next slide. There we go. Up in the corner there, that flat-topped one, that is Mount Kilimanjaro. That mountain is the highest mountain in Africa. It is also the highest single standing mountain in the world. And that mountain down at the bottom is Everest, because I know the kids are going to say, but Miss Stephanie, Everest is like 10,000 feet taller. You're right, but it's part of a mountain range, which makes it different. So, Kilimanjaro is also a dormant volcano. Just, to be different. And now here are some fast facts for you guys about the difference between living in Tanzania or living in the US. If you lived in Tanzania, you would be 77% less likely to be overweight. But you would also live on average 17 years less. You would pay 25% lower taxes. Yay, lower taxes. But you'd make 95% less money. And you'd be almost 3 times more likely to be unemployed and 50% more likely to live below the poverty line. You would be 66% less likely to have electricity and 72% less likely to have internet. I don't know about you guys, but considering the fact that I use the internet to get all of this information, that would make my life a little bit harder. You would be 32% less likely to have access to clean drinking water. But, moms and dads, you would save 33% on education costs. Major food crops for the area tend to be things that are drought resistant, like corn, rice, millet, bananas, sweet potatoes, and wheat. However, their main exports are coffee and cotton, and gold. And it also includes some cashews and tea as well. They also mine diamonds, gypsum, tin, and gemstones like, go figure, tanzanite. Now, I want you guys to imagine going for a road trip in Tanzania and what that would look like. It's going to be a little bit hard considering most of their roads are not paved. And their railway systems, of which they only have 2, date back to before World War I, so they're not exactly the safest. But they have several airports. 4 of them are international. 120 of them are smaller in-country airports. Sorry, kids, school is mandatory until the age of 15. But good news, they have an 80% success rate for primary school. And also, as of 2012, the literacy rate for people over the age of 15 is at 67%. The population is estimated to be about 56.3 million people. Anyone want to take a stab at what religion they profess mostly? I'm hearing Muslim. You are incorrect. 62% profess Christianity. However, I think the most interesting thing that I read about Tanzania is that according to the surveys of their population, it is made up of about 120 different indigenous African people. Danny, next slide, please. Because once again, I'm not going to try and murder the names of their tribes. Here are a few of the big ones. Oh, that's the weather. Oh, back. There we go, that one. Cut off at the bottom there tells you that that largest green portion represents over 100 different tribes. Now, I saved this little tidbit that Danny spoiled us a little bit, but that's okay. I saved this little tidbit for you guys, don't change it yet. If you ask yourself on a day like today when it's cold and snowy and kind of gross outside, if you ask yourself in the morning, why do I live where the air hurts my face? Here is this week's weather forecast for the capital city of Dodoma. That looks pretty nice, right? It's in the 80s. Yeah, that probably sounds really nice. But I want you to keep in mind that they are south of the equator. So, Danny, can you show us this week's for Niagara Falls? That looks a bit bad, doesn't it? That looks a little crisp. But I mean, if you want to keep in mind that, yeah, it might be 82 degrees and nice and humid and warm, there's a lot of poisonous animals, a lot of wildlife in general, big wild cats like lions and tigers, hippopotamuses that are not very gentle. When I say poisonous animals, I'm not just talking about spiders. I am avoiding the word snakes because I'm scared of them, but they're there as well. So if you're asking yourself, why do I live where the air hurts my face? That might be a good reason why. So the air might hurt your face, but at least you don't need to check around for poisonous snakes every morning. Plus sides of being in the cold. So thank you guys for listening to me rant about Tanzania. I probably could have gone on for a lot more time. I did about a book report's worth of research, so if you want any more information, just let me know because it's going to stay in my head forever. And next month I think maybe we'll talk about Mali and we'll see where that one goes.